the mayor got as much as she could possibly get out of this. I think that as your presentation lays out, I think she spent a lot of time on this throughout the years, and considering the fact that she's got little traction with the legislature, and considering the fact that without the meet and confer mechanism in place, I think she squeezed about as much as she could possibly get, and she laid out 5 different things that she feel are positive aspects to this. And with any negotiation, as I've stated before, I mean, there's going to be give and take. I mean, we're going to have to leave something at the table, we get something back, and it's a back and forth. And considering probably the likelihood that there was going to be little and any advancement once again through the legislature, I mean, she had, in my opinion, just very little leverage on her side during this negotiation. And so I think there are positive aspects. I think the concern, or what I would maybe mention, just if I could get some clarity on what Councilmember Costello mentioned, is he says the $50 million will be paid 8.5% interest, if you will. Because I was thinking about the agreement that we had with HPOPs, with the Travis building. But if you could better explain it so that I could understand that, because it seems to me that the fund itself is in good shape. You said 87%, so I think it could sustain the decreased funding in there. But will it be sustainable for us to pay any additional monies, or what Councilman Costello alluding to? If you could tease that out for me a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll beg Councilmember Costello's forgiveness if I misinterpret what he said previously. I believe what the council member was asserting, that in the scenario where the fund does not earn their assumed long run assumed rate of return this year, that, as I described earlier, if the liability grows as a result of that, and it would, that you still apply that long-term assumed rate of return to the liability that exists in the out years. I would offer, I think, a kind counterpoint to what Councilmember Costello said, in that this does not, if all that was happening in this agreement was that the city was going from 33.2% contribution as a percent of payroll down to 25.8% in 24 in the next 3 fiscal years, and the firefighter contributions were going from 9% to 12%, of course the math doesn't work. And of course, in total, there is less contributions going into the fund than was previously going into the fund. However, there is an important other aspect to this, which I previously stated, the city does not have control over, but which matters very much when you consider whether or not we are contributing below the arc, or if we are deferring payments or whatnot. We are not in this agreement, by the fact of entering into this agreement, deferring payments. We are not. Because of the fact that the fund has decided to realize the stellar gains that they had in the previous 2 fiscal years immediately, instead of realizing them over the course of the next 4 or 5 fiscal years, that actually changes their funded status from what was 87% to what will be 91% at the end of this fiscal year. Again, independent of this agreement, they will go from 87% funded status to 91% funded status. If their portfolio doesn't perform as assumed, and I think it's reasonable, reasonable people can agree on whether or not, or disagree on whether or not that's going to happen, it is possible. Then the contributions in the out years will be required to go up. Councilmember Pennington, to your question earlier, I think I may have landed on it. What we do currently is we set the fund every few years, does an actuarial valuation of their assets and liabilities, and based on that, they tell us what our contribution rate will be. We are operating under one of those 3-year agreements right now. In FY15, our contribution rate was 33.2%, and it will be that absent any other agreement for 16 and 17. So they have done evaluation, and they have told us that for the next 3 fiscal years, beginning in FY15, you need to pay us 33.2%. This agreement, with FY18 as the wild card, given what may happen in the equity markets, in the markets generally, excuse me, debt markets as well. What may happen 18 is exposed. So this agreement extends that by another